figure that out. Come on up, man.
You're allowing me on stage? Excellent.
Come on.
So, not everybody knows all of Tim's history. First of all, that was fantastic. I haven't heard all that show. That was really nice. So we're going to do something a little different because, you know, this is an educational institution, or at least we pretend to be. So we're going to try and do a little Q&A here. Not everybody knows Tim's background. So I'm sure you're going to have questions about how he put this together, who he's toured with, and all of that. I'm going to start it off with, I doubt you started with this. There were probably a few different incarnations of this before you got to this.
There were indeed. I was just trying to figure out a way to make it a little more interesting, not just the guy playing keyboards, you know. And hopefully I've accomplished that. But what I used to do is just put a screen like this, and I'd hang it in front of a wall, maybe like a foot away from a wall, and I'd project it from the front. And I'd be at my keyboard, and so it was giving kind of a dimension to the image to go through the screen and to the wall behind it. And then I was looking, you know, down that sort of shape that the screen and the wall made, that little alley, and I went, okay, well, why don't we extrapolate? And I got some thumbtacks or some hooks or something, and actually tacked fabric up into the place where I was living, my buddy Daniel's place in San Jose. He's here tonight. He's like, dude, what are you doing? Are you okay? And then I took the projector. I have a smaller projector at home, and I just started walking around this shape, and I thought it was amazing. I thought it was like, wow. I've seen rear projection, of course, but this is just kind of a cool, compact little way of showing my work and being inside my work, and I don't know, did it look cool? Was it? No, I'm not fishing. I'm seriously not fishing. It's just like, I don't know, because I never get to see it, you know, like in the same kind of way.
And also, I don't know if everybody knows, in addition to music, Tim is huge into photography, so you did all these images, right?
I did.
Yeah.
He's known me long enough to where he calls me Tim.
Oh,
Still.
I'm so sorry. You know what? I apologize.
No, it's okay.
I've been practicing. You know, it's one of those things you call somebody Tim for 20 years, and then
Yeah, it's
it's
hard.
Timothy now.
It's hard.
So,
Well, yeah, I know. It's a very posh. I'm sorry. Decidedly.
but anyway, you want to talk about your photography a little bit?
Not really.
Okay, good.
Not particularly.
Because I didn't want to hear about it, really.
Good.
Okay, good.
You in the class that I spoke in front of, too. Yeah. No, I don't know. Does anybody have any questions at all to ask? I know this is unusual, but I figured.
We have somebody in the back. Is Kurt running around with a mic? No.
This is why we rehearse. That's Kurt Shiflett. Thanks to Kurt Shiflett, my buddy, that I had a garage band with called Shakespeare Smith.
Yeah.
With Daniel and Kurt. And here he is, a professor at the school. And Kurt Shearer, this man right here, engineered the very first multi-track recording that I ever did in my life.
Strangely enough, it was my very first multi-track recording, and between our first experiences, it wasn't horrible. It actually was okay. We played it back the other day, and
he brought it back.
It wasn't too embarrassing.
Yeah,
okay.
It was
We had
relatively
questions.
embarrassing. The first time we played at Shakespeare Smith was probably at your house, Gail Chapman. Not Chapman anymore. What's your last name now? All right. Happy wedding. Congratulations to you two.
Can we have a question back for Timothy?
Okay.
Hey Timothy.
Hello. Hey, there you are.
How's
Hey
it going?
man, how are you?
Good, how are you doing?
This guy's a great keyboard player. Plays with Jason Mraz, this guy.
That's a lie. I don't listen to this guy.
You were lying that day. I was like, wow.
I just,
No, that guy's.
Timothy's lying. No.
I can't remember your name.
Thank you,
because I'm
Jake.
an idiot. I'm sorry. Okay.
Thank you for coming into our class the other day.
Thank you.
That was great. I was just wondering, you mentioned you recorded on Logic.
Yeah.
Did you record everything that we heard on Logic, all the
Yeah,
tracks?
all that stuff, all those tracks, all the records that I do.
And how
on
much of it
Logic.
was, if any, was live instrumentation, and how much was like MIDI instrumentation on there?
On the recordings?
Yeah, on the recordings.
The recordings themselves? There was a little bit of acoustic guitar that I played, a little nylon string guitar. drums, some live percussion. Primarily just plugins and electronic stuff in the laptop, just out of convenience, man. Just to, because either I can't afford to have all the great people I want on my recordings, or it's just inconvenient to get them into the studio. You know how it is when you have guitars and basses and drums and strings and all kinds of pads and stuff at your disposal. You use them. Just
Well,
like
it sounded great.
Photoshop, you use the filters.
I
Instagram.
thought that upright bass patch was amazing. That was
Thank
really
you.
convincing.
Yeah, that was cool. That was sweet. The thing about my mom, that song about my mom, that was very sweet. I thought that was a good way to use the memory of her. And
Thank you.
yeah, thanks for the question.
Here, another question here.
I don't really have a question. I just have a comment.
Let's hear it.
Yeah, so I just want to say, coming into this, when you came into our classroom and demonstrated who you were, I really didn't have any expectations, but sitting here and watching it, I just want to say the grandeur and the simplicity of this was remarkable. Like, it was really...
Wow, man.
It was,
Thank you. A sweet thing to say. Tell me your name again. I'm sorry.
Mosiah.
Mosiah, that's right. Mosiah was in one of Kurt Shiflett's classes, and he asked me all these terrific questions. He was asking questions rather than the technical side of it. He was asking the emotional side of it, the spiritual side of it, where the inspiration comes from, and I thought that was really cool. So, thank you. Good on you. Thanks for coming. More? Yeah, there's one. I could hear you from here, probably.
Was that her with your mom's whistle, or was it a similar one that matched mom's whistle?
I wish it was her. I wish I had recorded that whistle, but I was just a little kid. Just had a little cassette machine, maybe. When I was recording this song, there's the brushes on the snare drum and the bass and stuff. So I had my buddy Stevie DeStanislaw come in to play the brushes. He's a great drummer. He plays with David Gilmour, fantastic drummer. But the thing is, my tempo map for that song was just like really floaty, and it was very personal. It wasn't just like on a grid, that you could follow. So this amazing drummer couldn't really do the brushes. So I did the brushes to my best abilities under his tutelage. And but at the end of one of the takes on this snare drum, he just spontaneously whistled that melody. Doo, doo, doo. And he's a great whistler. He's a phenomenal whistler. And I went, what
Because
is
he
he
didn't,
doing?
he didn't
What
know the
is-
story, did he?
Just like goosebumps. And I had not told him the story about my mom at all. Didn't intimate any of that at all. But I have pictures of my mom and in there in the studio, and he was kind of getting a sense of it. And he just whistled. And it freaked me out. It was like, oh my God. That's why I wrote this song. So his whistle, just spontaneous at the end of the take, is that whistle that's in there. He's such a great whistler. I mean, that's a skill. Sweet. That was sweet.
What's your mom's name?
Crystal.
Crystal.
Is that
I think
John? John Bowles,
Yeah.
who had me do a performance last year in Folsom
Yeah, so
for a
this
great
is-
cause.
This is the second time I've seen this. You don't have to change a thing. But do you dream of different iterations of the Cube performance?
I do.
Yeah.
I really do.
What
Some
does
other
that look
people
like?
ask me about that during
Like triangles or?
lobes,
Yeah.
rhomboid, whatever. Sacred geometry, like that broccoli, right? I don't know. No, maybe like expanding it or having a few of them so I can actually play with some other people, because the tracks are interesting and all, and sometimes you can pull them off. This was a little rough, but I want to play with some people. I'm lonely in the cube. I'm just getting very lonely in there. It's a beautiful thing. So that might be a thing. I would also like to, maybe on this frame that's in here, like put some GoPros or something and have shots of me, because I don't want to be too removed from it, from an audience. I'd like maybe people to see my hands on the keyboard, possibly, that kind of thing. If I could switch it, my foot. Yeah, so That's one.
Okay, we have
Kind of thing.
another question here.
What's your name, young lady?
Hi, I'm Larry Shiflett.
I'm sorry, who?
Kurt's daughter.
Larry
Okay.
Shiflett.
Hi.
I'm producing her record.
She is, yes.
She is a badass, this one here. Great writer, great pianist, great singer. We did a session here, in fact, with her, with me producing, and the kids, and you like sort of executive producing.
Making sure nothing got broken.
Did anything get broken? Okay. It was so great. It was so fun.
Yeah.
What you got a question?
Okay, so when you're doing this, are you keeping track like to a click? Are you watching Logic, or you just remember?
I am
each
clearly
song?
not listening to it click, as you can tell. So you go, oh, whoa, oh, he's back. There, okay. It was a little tough at times. Yeah, there's no click. It's pretty.
So it's just
It's kind of a pastiche of abstract ideas at the moment, but maybe it could use a little tweaking and a little.
I have,
Yeah.
I have a
more
follow-up
sync
to
that
that.
kind of
So
thing.
there were a couple of times where you did piano breaks and then the track came back in. Was that totally wild, or were you triggering the track on the next entrance?
That was wild. Well, all the track is inside the film that you were watching. It's a
Yeah.
QuickTime movie, so the music is just a contiguous music track at the bottom of it that I kind of listen and try to play along
Well, that
with.
was pretty impressive. I mean, it actually seemed
Well-
like it was intentional. It was good.
It seemed intentional.
you did a wonderful job again.
Thank you, Marie. You were great the other night. You sang so well. She's so good. And that's Kurt's daughter. That's this man's daughter.
Down here in front. Miss Sierra Shiflett with the mic. We have a question here.
It might be irrelevant what I'm gonna ask you, but I noticed that there was some type of different type of guitar in there. Maybe it wasn't.
Yeah, a lot of guitar stuff in the track, and also what I'm playing live. I'm just enamored with this guitar sort of sound. And I'm a guitar player as well. So I can do things on the keyboard with a guitar sound that I can't do on the guitar. So it's like a magic sort of potion for me a little bit. Hopefully not tiresome, but it's really fun to play.
That's why it was different.
Okay, all right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. You guys are so patient and quiet. Oh, Athena. It's my friend Athena who came here from San Jose.
Yeah,
Hi.
from dance and music department.
How you doing?
Good, how
Oh
are
my
you?
God, I'm gonna feedback for the speaker.
So I have a question for you, Timothy.
Ah, another Greek.
It feels like almost, because I know so much about your photography, and of course you as a writer, I think the way that you put together, it seems almost like you're narrating the photos with the music and the composition. Maybe you can talk a little bit more about that.
Sure. I don't know how conscious it is when it's happening. I was telling a photography class that I often hear music or melody or some kind of sound. Maybe it's not even music. Maybe it's, you know, the kind of music the trees make, that kind of stuff. Not music necessarily when I'm shooting pictures. And then when I'm playing, I often see images. I know that's vague. So this is, it's not a real conscious, like, that image means what I'm feeling with that piece of music, but it all kind of washes together. It's hard to explain, I guess, because I don't really know myself, that's why.
Do you feel like it's a little bit of word painting, a little bit?
Yeah, it's abstract that way, but it's autobiographical. It's my history. A lot of that photography was from my time in San Jose, living with my buddy Daniel. It was such a great place to shoot, like sunsets and clouds and trees and stuff. So it's kind of like a diary in a way, I guess.
So
That's
nice
not much
to
of an
see
answer, but great to
So
see you.
nice to
Thank
see
you
you.
for coming.
Thank you.
Wow. This is so odd. I don't usually do this after a show, but I play. This is interesting.
Hi there. I was just wondering, what composers were you influenced by for this work?
For this work in
Yeah.
particular, or just in general?
Or maybe
I
in
guess
general.
it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Peter Gabriel, Pat Metheny, Bernard Herrmann, the film composer, Thomas Newman,
Keith Emerson.
Elton John, Keith Emerson, thank you. Rick Wakeman.
Especially early stuff, very
Yeah,
influenced there.
Yeah, very prog. Very prog. So those are a few.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hey man.
What do you have on tap for camera or music?
I can't pick. I can't really pick. I guess if I had to choose, it would be music and sitting and playing the piano. I love making images. I love taking pictures. I love working on pictures. Used to have a dark room. Really used to love making prints, processing my own film, the tactile part of it. So it's tough. Tough to choose.
You know, for those who don't know, we've tried to push this a little bit, but he's toured with Don Henley and Eagles and Whitesnake and co-written songs with, who all have you co-written songs with?
Co-wrote a song with Don Henley, which was kind of a thrill.
Mhm.
Stevie Nicks. Don Felder, the guy who wrote Hotel California, who I tour with now, currently, as a keyboard player. I wrote a bunch of songs with him, and some television stuff with him too. Those are the big ones.
So that's interesting. It's because this is such a different style than the stuff you tour with. How is that for your brain, for the gears to?
I have to hear, well,
Yeah.
I don't want to denigrate the Eagles or any of that stuff, but I mean, I've been playing with the Eagles since, 1989, really, with Don Henley, and it's great stuff. Actually, in high school, I have to admit, I loathed the Eagles. I really almost started a petition at school. I went to Jesuit High School, by the way, here in Carmichael. I know. No, it's all in good fun, guys. Gee. But I just couldn't stand them because I was into Pink Floyd and Emerson, Lake and Palmer and Led Zeppelin and much more interesting harmonic stuff. And they were just a little light and a little boring for me. But now that I've spent all this time with them, you see this brilliant songwriting. It kind of comes around, and I understand.
Nice
it.
save.
But yeah, no, it's true. But you got to be careful what you hate. Be really careful. Anyway, but no, it's been an amazing run with these guys since 1989. It's been kind of nonstop, I guess. And then Whitesnake was a whole other thing off of another direction, much more manly, masculine rock thing. And it was fun. It's been fun. I've been lucky. Luck has so much to do with it. But I was prepared and interested in doing really good work. I never wanted to be famous. Never, obviously not really into the spotlight per se.
Into the silhouette
The silhouette, this works for me, like in the box or behind the furniture, it's easier. I'm a fairly retiring guy, but it's been a great run. But I was prepared, and I was playing really well, and that was what I was interested in, is just being excellent at something, and it turned out to be playing and photography and art. And here I am doing it for you cats. Thanks for coming today. This is so great to see this many people. This is sweet. Maybe one more question, and then you guys, you gotta go, man. Come on, you guys need to move.
Yeah, okay, last question.
Get a drink. I need a martini soon. What are we doing? No, sorry.
Is there a message in your music? Like, is there something you want us to leave with?
Nothing like
There
being
you
on the
go.
spot.
There's Mosiah again, man. Laying down these questions. Wow. Well, just that whatever it might be triggering in you, you just embrace and enjoy that as a gift. If I've given you a gift of just allowing you to be sentimental or feel something about your mom or wow, that was dramatic, or just some kind of feeling, rather than me trying to place it on you, I'd rather you just take it as a gift, whatever it's going to be. I know you were moved by it. I'd love to hear what you're taking away from it, to be honest. But that's my answer. Beauty, goodness, love, joy. Stop occasionally, take a look at trees and clouds and meditate. I don't know. Everything is just kind of noisy and fast and hard at times, but life is so sweet, Just to quiet and slow down and quiet down for a little while, not all the time, because we want the frenetic kind of ambitious pace too sometimes, right? Anyway, that's my answer, my rambling answer. You have one? Okay. Oh, a comment, okay.
So very magical.
She was saying some great stuff before that, though. I promise you, it was all really sweet. No, you were.
I can repeat it.
Please do. Would you?
Yes.
I would love it if you did. Yeah.
Okay, so I was saying as a comment that in light of your music collaboration with very well-known composers, what I embraced and received from your presentation is the authenticity of your sound.
Thank you.
And the creation of your personal photography, which creates your story, which made this presentation very magical.
Thank you so much. Yeah, that's it. Leave with that. I mean, that's great.
I've got one last thing we've got to do, and I need your help with this. This wouldn't have been possible without us securing a grant to bring wonderful artists like this into this environment. And I'm asking Kurt, because I can't remember who the grant was through. Who did we do the grant through? Oh, you're not.
Grant? What grant? There's no grant.
Oh, this is a bad way to end.
That's great.
I thought it was your idea.
I wonder if they're here. What if they're here? That's going to be bad if they're here.
Well, the anonymous organization that
John Bowles,
generously
everybody,
gave us
thank you for making this possible.
Well, Daniel, you want to pipe in? Is he still here? No? He's not saying anything. All right, thank you for your help, Daniel. I remember that. It was a foundation grant. Let's go with that. Some foundation somewhere.
Oh, and by the way, I do have CDs.
Oh, yes.
For sale or donation or whatever you feel it's worth, but I've got some discs.
Are you just going to bring them down front here, or what are you going to do?
Just going to frisbee them out?
Yeah, okay.
No, I'll just bring them down to the edge of the stage, I guess, if you guys are interested in a disc and you want to pony up a couple bucks, or, that would be sweet. Anything else?
All I'm going to say, one last bit of class business. If anybody in the MSUM program is here for concert credit, go and hassle Chris back at the soundboard. There's a sign-up sheet there, just so you get.
Some people were actually coerced into
encouraged.
this. How many credits?
A lot.
It took that much. Well, thank you. Sorry, and thank you for that. There they go now.
Yeah.
My students will sign your little sheets up here. So why don't we grab the CDs if anyone wants to?
Yeah. I'm going to do that. And thanks again, you guys, for coming. Thank you so much for sitting through this whole experience.